Hello and welcome to a new live stream. I hope you're all doing well. Um, Today, I would like to take a moment to have a good in-depth look at Bitcoin and the overall market because personally, I do believe we are pretty close to a major move. The reason I believe this, we'll come to that in a moment. For now, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you do. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and it would obviously really help me out. As usual, if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the YouTube comment box um, so I can answer them to the best of my abilities. Other than that, I have a little bit of a flu, so if you can't hear me properly, let me know and I will try to fix that, obviously. So, without further ado, just gonna move over and let's pull up the Bitcoin chart right here and see where we're at. Please let me know in the comments, can you currently see the Bitcoin chart? If not, let me know what you do see. It should be good. So, we're obviously gonna start off on the larger time scale here in the logarithmic scale. Now, why do I want to look at the logarithmic scale? Obviously, if we turn it off, it's very hard to see what happened here in the past. Well, I do believe that this is pretty essential. So just gonna pull this up and there we go. Okay. So in this video, I'm not gonna try to compare the previous bear markets to the current bear market. It doesn't make any sense at this moment because obviously we have an entirely different correction going on here. And the reason, the major reason I would say that the current correction is very different, and you can see it on the chart, than the previous correction is because there were over 600,000 Bitcoins stolen and sold off on the market during this correction. Nonetheless, there is some stuff that we can learn from this in order to, move on. Because I just want to take a minute and let the current chart sink in. What is currently going on with Bitcoin? It's very simple. We are currently making lower highs, as I've said this in my previous live stream. Lower highs, and the bottom is essentially ever since February has been, the same. If I take my array and I draw it out like this, you can see that there is a very, very clear bottom, which, we have never really managed to break. Some people said like, okay, we've gone below, but the only time we really managed to break this on the daily chart was in the 28th of June. And, the market quickly pushed back with quite a violent upwards move. So obviously back then the price didn't want to be there. But something that is essential to notice is that we are getting closer and closer to support without any signs of life from the bulls. There's obviously these corrections, and overall you have to keep in mind that this is a 70% move. Now, the bad news is that bubbles always need at least an 80% correction. You can check this on every chart that has been in a bubble state, like uranium, Bitcoin, alts, anything, silver, and you will find that when a bubble pops, there needs to be an 80% correction. And sure enough, in the previous bear market, if we just leave these wicks out of consideration, it's, close to 80%. If we take the wicks, it's more like 86%. Currently, we are nowhere near 80%. So if you would put a gun to my head and if you would say, tell me, where are we going next? I would say we are going to break support. Now, nothing to really panic about. Every great bull run in the history of, everything has been started with a massive dump. So if we are going to compare the previous bear markets to the current bear market, I would say we are somewhere here. And all we need right now is a catalyst and a dump in order to finish the bear market. I could be wrong here. So personally, it's very important to know that I am not taking action until we have broken support or resistance. Now, currently it is rather hard to draw a true resistance on Bitcoin. But if I had to draw it, it would look like this. This is what I would currently consider to be a semi-accurate wedge. Now, as you can see, we might be about to complete this, and excuse me, it's not perfect. Sadly, at this moment, it's impossible to draw a perfect resistance on Bitcoin. Even if we take out the log scale, you will find that it remains pretty hard to draw a perfect resistance on Bitcoin at this moment. So we're going to have to be creative. Now, what am I trying to say with this is that as we are getting closer and closer to the finishing line, so to say, a violent breakout gets more and more likely. And obviously, and I think I can speak for everyone when I'm saying this, we want to be on the right side of this breakout, right? We want to catch the breakout that Bitcoin will eventually make. It will make this breakout. Now, I always say never trust a wedge that goes more than 70% of the total wedge. So, we're getting close to 70%. And it might entirely be possible to just do this, be flat. But if that's the case, I'm gonna expect, and I would put money on this, that we're gonna keep doing this. That doesn't seem very likely to me. It's Bitcoin. We want an epic conclusion to this accumulation period or distribution period, whatever you want to call it. And it's coming up. So I'm gonna be very patient here. I will be trading maybe some alts like Ethereum, EOS with some well-defined setups. But one more thing I will do is wait for this Bitcoin breakout. And I don't think this is going to take a whole lot more of time. We have been in this range for, don't want to say it wrong, we have been in this range for 231 days. Now, obviously, could easily add 231 days more. But what is more likely to me is that we're going to have a breakout. Doesn't matter which side, it's going to break out. If we break down, I can safely assume that we're going to double the bear market to at least another half to 1 year, something like that. If this happens, and that's also part of the reason why we're focusing so much on margin trading right now, is we're going to have to be margin trading the breakout down. And obviously, because this happens in every bear market as well, we're going to have to trade the bottom for quite a while. And the previous bottom, as I would like to call it, lasted for a year. If you did not have margin over here, and I remember this, there was no margin, didn't exist on Bitcoin. It was very hard to trade this. It's hard to day trade this to flip it into a profit. But now we do have margin, so that's obviously great news. And we might be looking into, trading the daily action that's going to be happening at this bottom. One thing I can tell you for sure, and we're going to the weekly chart for this, just to give you a demonstration, and gonna turn off the log scale. Anyone with common sense can tell that if you look at this chart, obviously this does not look like a general bottom. It needs more time. So there's going to be one play here, one very large play, obviously, as these moves are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There's going to be a breakout. I intend to be on the right side of that breakout. Of course, I will publish this trade in Discord for everyone to follow. If we are right, there is a whole lot of money to be made. So, stay wary, stay on your guards, and it might happen any day soon. Apart from that, obviously, if we look at the shorter term, just gonna go over to the 1 hour chart. There is some hope for a bullish breakout. Obviously, this kind of accumulation that we're doing in the 6K, 7K range, between 6 and 7, we've been doing that for a lot of times. Last time was in June. We stayed in this range for almost 1 month. Then we broke out. Then again, we stayed in this range for 20 days. Then we broke out. And now we have been in this range for 20 days. So on the short term side of things, there is not really something to look at that I would consider a strong support here. It's pretty hard to draw a real support, so we're going to have to look at horizontal supports. Current horizontal supports are 6,100. I do believe if we break this range, we're going to be screwed. And we're going to go over to 4K. Next support, and I've drawn this out before, is 65.50. When we broke that range, I took a trade on it. Went quite well for 1 or 2 days, but then we got back into this range quickly enough. Once again, okay, what is the difference between a logarithmic scale and a normal scale? That's the question we have on the YouTube channel. For this, I'm just going to zoom out to the weekly chart. This is considered a normal scale, and I just want to make sure that I word it correctly. I would consider myself, pretty competent in the English language, but considering I'm Dutch, sometimes it's hard for me to discuss more complicated matters. So here is a linear time scale. What this means is that when we take any point on the chart, and just to keep simpleness in mind, if we take 200 on the chart, so we have like 200 here, right? 203. Let me just lower this amount. Okay, 199. If we draw the next line and we draw that 400, you can see that there is a certain distance between these lines. Okay, now if we're gonna draw 800, or let's say 600, for sake of easiness, that you can see that the $200 difference on the linear time scale is the same, regardless if it goes from 200 to 4 or from 400 to 600. And I'm trying to explain this in a simple, easy way for everyone to understand. And then if we go from 6 to 8, you can see that again, the same distance will be sitting between these lines. So the steps of 200 are going to be, relatively the same in distance. And if there's a more easy way to explain this, please let me know. If we turn on the logarithmic scale, we're going to start from 200 and we're going to drop this on 400. Okay, you can see that this is quite a distance. Now, if we're going to drop it on 600, you can see that the distance between 4 and 6 is halved. Okay, this is like half the distance that it was from 2 to 4. Now, if we do it again, drop the line here on 8 again, difference of $200, you can see that it is again shortened. And this is called a logarithmic time scale. And what this means, and I'm just going to quote this to you, is so that prices in the scale are not positioned equidistantly. Instead, the scale is plotted in such a way that two equal percent changes are plotted as the same vertical distance on the scale. So you can, in essence, look at the linear scale as a price scale, and this is more of a percentage-based scale. So, for example, just to demonstrate once more, we remove the log scale, we go to the linear scale. A price increase from 1,000 to 2,000 will hold the same distance on the scale as a price increase from 2,000 to 3,000. So these squares are equal in size. Now, if we turn on logarithmic scale, and now you will notice the difference quite likely, 1,000 to 2,000 is a 100% increase. Now, if we need another 100% increase, we need to go from 2 to 4, because 4 is double the size of 2. Anyone can agree to that. So this way, if we do it like this, we can see a scale that is based on percentages rather than solid numbers. And so as the price moves higher, it will do so more slowly. You can see on the right bar here, for example, and let me just get this to a proper scale. There we go. You can find 2 at the bottom. Then here is 4. Then you get 8, 14, 24, and the numbers become larger and larger the higher you go. And this makes it really easy to analyze charts in a way that when prices go parabolic, as they have done for Bitcoin, you can still easily chart out, for example, supports and resistances. So I would consider this a support myself. Now, obviously, if we do this on a linear scale, it's going to be really hard to find. I improvised this, so if I didn't explain it in a proper way, I will try to make a video on this, but I will also link this page so that you can read through it yourself, because this is quite a complicated matter for someone who has not been trading yet. So yeah, one final thing I would like to do now that we are working on the log scale anyway is draw out my pitchfork. Please give me a second. I'm having a doorbell ring. Hello? Hello? Let's draw out this pitchfork. Sorry about that. Let's see. And I've actually been following this pitchfork for, I would personally say, let's say 2 years. I've drawn this the first time 2 years, and the nice thing is it's still valid. And I'm just going to remove the noise. This is what I would consider the largest timescale for Bitcoin that you're able to chart. Obviously, Bitcoin was being traded before 2012, but there's not much data on that because most of those exchanges, including Mt. Gox, went wrecked, and I just leave that out because the charts don't really make sense on a penny scale. So if we take our pitchfork, you will find that there's only one thing to look at here, and that's when bottom, right? So what I like to do is just draw out a time scale onto which where the price is now and where the bottom of this wedge is. The bottom of this wedge is in April 2019. So for me personally, I do believe that we will continue this bear market until at least April 2019. Now, might sound very far away. It's only a couple of months left. I really believe that the worst is behind us. This might not seem on a logarithmic time scale like a significant drop, but this drop is just as severe as this dump here. If we take out our measurement tool, you will find that we are getting close to the severity, very close, of the previous dump. All we need is one, maybe $2,000 worth of dump more, so to say it, in order to reach the bottom. Now, obviously, we will be trying to play this move. It will be in the Discord, and I will make sure that we catch this because this is going to be huge. I really do believe this is going to be one of the largest moves in the last couple of months. And that's why I'm spending so much time on this and talking about this for such a length of time, is because if we catch this move on BitMEX, it's going to be one giant party for everyone. Right? So that's the goal here, obviously. An important notice is that in the previous bear market, alts regained control before Bitcoin did. What I mean by this is that alts stopped dumping. Let me rephrase that. Alts started pumping, so alts started to move up before Bitcoin started to move up, right? And a prime example of an alt that shows us the general state of the alt market is Ethereum. 9 out of 10 times when there's a micro bull run or a major bull run or whatever, ETH is the leading indicator to tell us where the alt market is, right? And personally, I believe this is due to the fact that 99% of alts are actually based off of Ethereum. They're running on the Ethereum protocol, but it could be anything. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that if we take our array and we just pop it here, very simple, previous bull run 2016, right? We are currently at those levels. So Ethereum is at 2016 levels. A lot of alts are actually. A lot of alts got wrecked, and I really do feel sorry for everyone who joined during December because most of those poor folks have lost a shit ton of money. But then again, this also happened to me. But then in the previous bull run, Bitcoin went up. I was like, oh, great. And then there was a massive bear market, and everybody got wrecked. And I think the same thing is happening now. So if I would put a bottom, very simple, if I would put a bottom on the alt market, it would be like now or next month. Because it's important to realize why people buy Bitcoin. Why do people buy Bitcoin? Just let that sink in. It's to make money, right? You get into crypto to make money. Anyone that's saying otherwise, except maybe Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever, is bullshitting. I got into crypto to make money. All my friends got into crypto to make money. My family got into crypto to make money. So that's what we are going to try to do. And we're going to do so in a logical way. And that's by defining the bottom. So just to show you where I'm at here, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the general uptrend of Ethereum. We have been in this range ever since 2015. Giant spike, giant correction, giant spike, giant correction, medium spike. We didn't cross the previous all-time high, and this should have been the first warning to everyone. And then basically we broke out of this range. And the reason we did this is very simple. Would Ethereum have done this, like giant spike again? It would have outgrown Bitcoin. I don't think any coin is ready to outgrow Bitcoin. So for now, we're just gonna remove the old channel because it doesn't really matter anymore. What matters right now to me is the horizontal support. Now, I would say the support ranges from 0.033 Bitcoin to 0.024 Bitcoin. Why am I trading this in Bitcoin? One important lesson that I want you to put into your head, never get it out again. Just keep this in mind. If you want to be making money with crypto, you want to make as much Bitcoins as possible, right? That's why I am trading. The only reason I am trading is to get more Bitcoins because those Bitcoins are going to be worth 100 grand, 200 grand, maybe $1 million in the future. Who knows? But I have so much faith in that is what I'm doing. And that's what a lot of people are doing, actually. So the next question, obviously, is where are we heading next? I think it will take a while before, and even if it's possible to break this previous all-time high, right? But what I do know is that currently we are in the accumulation zone, and let's just look at EOS for a second here. You'll find the exact same thing happening for EOS. I'm gonna drop over to Bitfinex. Gonna drop the log scale for a second here because we don't really need it. You know, EOS never really made 1000x, so I think the chart is perfectly. That's my old buy. Sorry. I think the chart is perfectly readable in the normal scale. So let's drag our ray out, horizontal support, and I would say the buying range, ranges anywhere from 72,000 satoshis to 52,000 satoshis. Now in dollar value, this would translate to approximately, and I say approximately, $4 to $5, something like that. This is the current buying range. And the reason I'm trying to say this is because it is very essential to establish your long-term alt portfolio during the accumulation time, during the bear market. If you do this, if you get a good alt portfolio, you are gonna make a ton of money during the next bull run. That's what I did. That's what a lot of friends of mine did. That's what all the OGs did on Twitter. They established a portfolio at the depth of the bear market when all the other people, got out of crypto, when they sold their bitcoins, when they gave up hope. That's when you have to create an alt portfolio. It's very counterintuitive. The human brain finds it very hard to grasp because it is against your emotions. Your emotions might say, "Holy shit, I have to get out. I have to stop this. This is bad for me, whatever." But you have to use your brain, not your emotions. And if you do that, if you create an alt portfolio during the depth of the bear market, you're gonna make probably, anything's possible, but probably a good amount of money. Now, most people don't do this. Most people quit during the depth of the bear market. They start at times like this when all their friends are saying, "Holy shit, I made so much money," and they buy a car, and that's when people join crypto. Here's when they join it, and the bottom is where they leave it. It's the cold hard truth. You don't find any mainstream media talking about crypto at this very moment. Maybe at least not at the level that they used to. There used to be like a crypto watch list on the Dutch mainstream media, talking about crypto every day at this point, and now you don't hear shit. So that's the natural cycle that we go through again and again. And it's not only in crypto, it's also in the stocks. When stocks are making all-time highs, it gets on the news, people get into stocks, and then there's a recession, everybody gets wrecked. And that's when, bad things happen, people lose money. So you have to trade against the cycle, go against it. Completely counterintuitive, very hard to grasp emotionally, but once you get it, the world is yours. Comment from Robert Diggins: I think 0x has a good chance. Personally, I am a huge holder and fan of 0x. Why? You know, I can tell you it has nothing to do with this. Absolutely zero. If we go to CoinMarketCap, open up the 0x website, and I've said this before, probably most of you know that I've said this, but in case you don't, here it goes. Let's go to About, let's scroll down. Advisors. Now, an advisor is not somebody who advises a crypto project to do something. What is an advisor? And put this into your head. An advisor is a person of influence who gets paid a lot of tokens to convince other people to buy the tokens, right? That's why the most crazy people like John McAfee, whatever, are advisors, and that's why a lot of Twitter OGs are advisors. They have influence, they get coins to exert this influence on their follower base in order to make the project popular. That's the only thing an advisor is doing in crypto land. Anyone who says otherwise is crazy. Advisors are not advising anything, they're just pumping up the shit, right? We all know that. That's the cold hard truth. One very important thing to notice about these advisors of 0x is Fred Ursum, co-founder of Coinbase, Aleph, first hire at Coinbase, and Zinda C, previously PM at Coinbase. See, and they all have like their own capitals because they got shit rich, but doesn't matter. What matters here is Coinbase, Coinbase, Coinbase. This project is screaming Coinbase, right? So I believe that once decentralized exchanges, get a hold, and they will get a hold because exchanges are pure shit. Binance is charging $4 million to, list a project. So this means that every project is gonna have to raise at least like $6 million and then pay $4 million to get on Binance, basically ruining any good projects that, don't have a lot of money. For example, Lux, that don't do an ICO. It's impossible for them to get on an exchange, right? So I believe decentralized exchanges are a thing of the future. And I think Coinbase, that's why we see like Coinbase all over this project, is going to use the 0x protocol to hedge against those decentralized exchanges, because they have to join the game or they get wrecked. We've seen that a lot of times before with exchanges, and we're going to keep seeing it. That's why I'm big on this project. It's got more to do with, FA, fundamental analysis, than technical analysis. But if Coinbase actually utilizes this protocol to hedge against decentralized exchanges, you can easily expect a 10x right here. 10x in price, would put the target approximately here. Might sound crazy. This is perfectly normal for crypto. Charts like this, it's usual. It's normal. Happens all the time. And we forget that. In the bear market, we forget that 10x is nothing. 100x is nice. 10x is nothing. But keep that in your back of your head. So, I'm just saying things the way they are. I don't like, talking around any kind of subjects. I just say how things are, how I think about it. And that's why I'm big on this one. So the essence of my story today, and let us go back to Bitcoin USD. The essence of my story today is that while times may become difficult for hodlers, they will not become difficult for us traders, because it doesn't matter if we do this or if we do this. If we're on the right side, we can still make a whole shitload of money. right? That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. And that's what I'm anticipating for. That's what I'm waiting for. So, my game plan, also very simple. Wait for this to break out. Any side, doesn't really matter which side. Play the game. And then get my cards ready for the next bull run. You know, this money that we can make here. Obviously, it's possible to be in the wrong side. In that case, it's gonna be very unhappy. But I do believe we're gonna have one more dump to go before we enter the bull market. The good news, we have been in the bear market for a year, so or close to a year. So you know the worst is behind us, as far as I'm concerned. I believe alts are gonna be the place to be again. They haven't been the place to be for the past, 10 months, easily 10 months, maybe more. But I believe this is going to switch, and this is going to usher in a new, good time. No, I don't prepare shorts or longs. If we do break out, and trust me, we will see it if we break out. It's not gonna be a 2% move. It's gonna be violent. It's gonna be fast. Um, all we have to do is be awake when it happens, and we will know. I will scream it in the Discord. I will spam you guys on your emails, and we're gonna make this a great, great trade, right? So yeah, didn't really get into positions or altcoin positions, but the essence of my story is that there is a big move coming. Could be tomorrow, could be in 2 weeks or in a month. I don't know. All I do know is that we will know when we see it, and we will play the part, right? We're traders. We're going to make money regardless of where the market is going. The only time you're not going to make money of trading is when the market is doing a flat line, and that's never. That's only going to happen if the world has ended, as Corp likes to say it, if there's an apocalypse of huge size. And the game to me is just going to be waiting now for the right Bitcoin position, because I do want to be on that side, absolutely, 100%. But apart from that, I believe alts are going to be it over the next couple of weeks, months, or a year. Let's see. Apart from that, oh yeah, make sure to join the Discord, cryptocampus.io. It's free, doesn't cost you a dime. The margin engine. A lot of people watching this are probably also in the campus. It's almost full. We only have a few spots left. If it's full, it's full. It's gonna start. We're not gonna reopen it for the next 7 months. So make sure, if you intended to be there, to join. Get on the list. Just be in there. If you're not happy, you can get off the list. It won't cost you a damn dollar. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm really excited to see some life into the market again, because it has been relatively flat and it has been boring. But it's gonna be exciting again, and I'm happy we're all here. So if you have any questions, always feel free on Discord. Just send me a DM if you're a favorite. Any questions will be answered. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys live again in 2 days. Have a great week.